So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, especially before you were diagnosed?
My name is Dairu Miriam Olaide. I'm a graduate of physiology at the University of Ilorin. I got diagnosed in the year 2023 during my service. So this is how it went. I went for service. I camped at Plateau State, and when I got back, I noticed I was losing weight, and I worked as a copper at a medical laboratory. So I did a few tests like urine dipstick, and I realized my glucose level was very high. I complained to my boss then, and he said I should do um, FBS, that's fasting blood sugar. And around June, which is when I did it, it was very high, like 3 figures. And I was like told to go to the hospital immediately. It was like an emergency. He explained to me that as someone that has 3 figures, I'm not even supposed to be standing at all. I'm supposed to be at the hospital, like admitted into the ward. So I did that, and that was like how my diabetes journey started.
Thank you very much for your answer, Miriam. So, can you take us back to the day you were diagnosed? Like, what is that moment you vividly remember about that day?
Okay, so I don't think I had issues when I got the final diagnosis. It was the pre-diagnosis. That was when I did the urine dipstick. I did it several times, trying to convince myself that, oh, this is not what I suspected. And it kept on like plus, plus, plus. So I have a friend, we're classmates in school, classmates, no, not classmates, classmates, and we became friends. Is So I called him and I told him what I was going through, and he was like, calm down, this is not something to panic about. He explained to me how his dad is pre-diabetic, has been for years, and he has been on medication. It was a lot for me. I cried. It was crazy. I cried, and even before then, I got sick, and I was like this close to dying. But fortunately, it didn't happen. So during that time, I think I got used to the reality. And when I finally got diagnosed, I was like, okay, just like you said, this is not the end of the world.
I'm sure as a young person navigating diabetes, it must be very, very tough. Has this affected your relationships? Has it affected your confidence and your dreams, your aspirations? Do you want to talk to us about that?
I think I became a new person. Not that it affected my confidence. I think I became more confident in myself. I learned to express myself because I realized that this life is short. Anything can happen to anybody. Like people that die today, it's not like they plan ahead for it. So I became more confident. And relationship wise, I've had a relationship where I was asked questions that made me sit and think. And I realized that, okay, this is my situation. I cannot force it on anybody. So I just had to let the relationship go.
What was the first thing you cried about after hearing the news? Was it that moment where you just went, no, 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 this is so much for me to take in?
So there was a particular day, I served in Ogun State, but I came to do like a side also in Lagos. So I was staying with a family, and one morning I was going to work and I just started vomiting, and it was a terrible experience for me. And then I'm like, is this how it's going to continue? I didn't know what triggered the vomit, and I ran to a lab, did my blood check that day, and it was like 3 figures again. I'm like, God, is this how my life is going to continue? Will I have to like check my blood every day? Will I have to anticipate that something can go wrong anytime? So, but thankfully, I have people, I have family, I have friends that have been with me. Like, just like I said, the person I called is my friend till today, and he checks on me. I have someone I stay with, my friend, my very close friend. She checks on me. She's always telling me, have you checked your blood? Have you checked your sugar level? Are you taking your drugs? So all these have like been a comfort for me. and it gives me reason to like want to go on.
Um, I know you mentioned about having a good support, your family always being there for you, but let's be honest, there are moments whereby you just had this lonely down moment. So, what is the loneliest moment for you in this journey of diabetes?
Instances where I'm asked when are you going to get off insulin, and then okay, so thinking back now, I feel like it is when I get asked when are you getting off insulin, and in my head I'm like, when am I getting? This is like a life sustenance for me. Why are you telling me where am I getting off it? So I've realized that no matter how much people sympathize with you, they really can't get it because that is not what they are going through. You are the only person that will be able to understand like what you're going through. People will only sympathize. They'll say, "Oh, I'm so sorry you're going through this. Oh, I wish I could help you," but they can only do their best.
Was there a dream you had to let go because of diabetes?
Actually, no. Like I said earlier, I got more confident. Okay, so I'm a fashion designer and I'm also learning or in training as an echocardiographer. I started this last year, and one of my reasons for going through that part is because I realized this is an expensive life, and as much as I have people that will support me, I cannot put every of my problems on them. So I have to like stand firm and find like financial support for myself. So I decided that okay, I'm going to pursue my dreams of being a fashion designer as well as get something on the side. That is why I went into echocardiography. So on the part of letting dreams go, I don't believe because of diabetes I have to let things go. It even gives me the drive to like want to do more, want to get better for myself.
As a young person living with diabetes, I'm sure that you must have some struggles that people don't see behind the scene. Now, what are some struggles you have that most people don't see?
Yeah, everybody has their sensitive side, and there are times, okay, now, one of the side effects of diabetes is constant thrush. I struggle with that. Then there's the uncertainty of what's going to happen. Like in my endo clinic, I see people coming every week, and I get scared. I don't want to be in that situation. I don't want to be. So while I'm struggling, I want people to be more sensitive towards people's pain. Like you don't just say things, you be like, oh, I'm joking. No, your joke might not come as a joke to me. There are times where, though have, like I said, I've had like very great support. But there are times where like people can be very insensitive and like that's not a very good front.
Have you felt in a way that people have misunderstood you or isolated you because of your diagnosis?
I feel like that every day because I have to like motivate myself. Like this is not the end. You have to like, regardless of what you're going through, you have to be yourself. So there are days when I wake up, I check my fasting blood sugar and like very I am like you don't have to be down. You don't have to like be depressed about it. Because it's high today doesn't mean it will continue like that. So and once again, I'm learning echocardiography, and that is like a blessing to me and to my future patients because that's one more person to help a lot of people out there. So
I'm sure a lot of people would just be like, diabetes is not a big deal. So, what would you tell someone who feels like diabetes is not a big deal?
it is a 50-50 thing. It can be a big deal to you, and it can also not be a big deal. It depends on your approach to it. To me, on some days it's like a big deal, but most days I try to look at it from the positive aspect. Like there are several people that live with chronic ailments and life continues for them. People have lived with cancer, they've beat cancer. Well, you have okay, there are different types of diabetes. Type 2 diabetes, you can beat it, you can go into remission. Type 1, unfortunately, you can't, but it is just your approach to it. There are people that live with type 1 and they are still living very fine. So if you decide it is a big deal for you and you want to like be overcome with depression on it, then I don't think that's a very good approach.
Now let's do some retrospection. If you could sit down with your 20-year-old self, what would you tell her?
I would say you shouldn't have overlooked every symptom you had. And stop sitting inside. Exercise, please. Because I never did any of that. I'm still struggling with exercising now. I never did any of that. And I feel like it's contributed to my diabetes as well. And stop eating processed foods.
What is one thing that you wish everyone watching this video should know about diabetes? Because there's a lot of misconception. So what is just that one thing you wish everyone knew about diabetes?
Diabetes sugar might contribute to diabetes, but there are people that have diabetes all their life due to genetics. They inherited it or genetic mutation. So it is not just by, and you don't judge people by saying, oh, you take too much sugar. No, that's being insensitive. And also, diabetes comes with a lot of complications. So if you know somebody out there that is a diabetic patient, the best you can do for them will be supportive. Help them watch what they eat, help them with like emotional support, if possible financial support, because it is a whole lot more than just taking sugar. The drugs that come with it, the lifestyle changes, everything, even forget lifestyle changes, and the emotional part of it is like people fall into depression just because they say, oh, I have diabetes, and then boom, they're like depressed. And depression is like a terrible thing. Even people that don't have chronic illness, they fall into depression, and it's hard for them to get out of it. So just being emotionally there for people, not just diabetic patients, anybody around you that suffers from like an ailment, you can like help them being emotionally there.
If we had a world where we had lesser people had diabetes, what would that mean to you as a person?
And to be life changing might not be directly to me, but like I don't wish for someone else to have something like this. So if there are chances that every other person doesn't have, I would like really hope for that.
Sure, at this point, we have a lot of millions of people listening to us, people that are young, middle-aged, the elderly. And what action do you hope people listening today will take after listening to such a touching story from you?
Okay, so I had series of symptoms before I got my final diagnosis. And just like I said to my 20-year-old self, like while I was in school, I lived a sedentary life. I only go to school, come back, sit, eat, sleep, wake up, same, rinse and repeat. So during that time, I noticed that I usually had bloating. I always, it was continuous, and I thought it was like a menstrual thing, but it wasn't. And when I started noticing symptoms of diabetes, I had frequent urination. I was always going to the toilet, and my urine was always sweet smelling. It was like sweet in a not a very good way. So I noticed that, and then I had frequent hunger and thirst. I could finish like a bag of pure in 2 days. So I'm like, this is not normal. And the constant urination, hunger. If I eat now, there's a tendency for me to get hungry in the like next 2 hours. So it wasn't like a normal thing for me. So those were the symptoms I noticed. And when I did the urine test, it was pointing to it. So I felt like, okay, this and this plus this, these are like symptoms. And I usually get tired easily. I had fatigue all the time. I was always like tired. If I do any small activity, I get tired. So those were the symptoms, I think.
Do you have any advice, recommendations for the government, investors, and other stakeholders in the world of diabetes?
I would like that they I don't know, how would I put it? They be more sensitive to healthcare, because healthcare is something that you cannot just put aside. A lot of people have things that they are going through, but financially they cannot get help. So if they can make or implement policies that would help people that are living with stuff like this, and also infrastructures. Okay, I'm a patient at last here, and I feel like to a point I've been able to benefit because they've implemented, or the infrastructure is there, but it is not enough. It is not enough. There are millions of people that are not able to benefit from this. So if they can do more on this, like build infrastructures, implement policies that will help the health sector, then I think that would be great.
In 2 minutes, what are your final words to all our listeners?
Okay, so I would say don't be negligent of your health. If you realize you're living with something as chronic as diabetes, the very thing you can do for yourself is like learn, educate yourself. Because one of the things that helped me was because I knew, maybe because of my university degree, I knew what to check out for. When I got my symptoms, I knew, okay, this is what it is pointing to. So try to educate yourself. And I don't mean by just Google searching. Sometimes Google can be misleading. So go for health outreach, health talks, listen to all these health programs. Try to educate yourself, so you know when you're going through something that is not meant to be. You know when to like be alert. Then always go for checkups, please. Even when you feel ill and hardy, please go for checkup, because you don't know, anything can go wrong at any minute. So aside that, also exercise. Oh, please exercise, because okay, so I have a good news and I would like to share it. I got my doctor told me that I'm not type 1 diabetic. So she said I possibly type 2, that she still needs to look on it. And she told me that given that I'm not type 1, that I can always go into remission, and I'm happy about that. She said, exercise. That's what I'm saying to everybody. Please exercise. Exercise. Be cautious of what you eat, because portion control, if you want to go into remission as a type 2 diabetes, please portion control.